Hi, I'm Margie Abbott, and today I'm joined by Dr. Dale, who has developed a very unique and successful math program, and we're going to talk about that today. My background is that I've homeschooled for about 30 years, since the 1980s, and have loved helping students with their math, but I always felt like I didn't have the right tools in my hand to do that until I met Dr. Dale. So we're going to ask him some questions today to help us better understand what we need to do. And so my first question would be is that, and a lot of homeschoolers ask me, is that there's just so many choices out there. I mean, how do they even begin to figure out what math they would like to use?
Well, that's an excellent question, Margie, and there's no real easy answer. I will just say this. You need to pick a program that your student responds well to and can learn from and enjoys math. That's the number one thing, because psychology is the first thing of all. If the student doesn't enjoy math, they're probably not going to learn very well, no matter what program you choose.
Great.
And secondly, you really need to look at the content of the program. And we share with you the topics that we teach and the order we teach them in. And our program is very different than any other program I'm aware of, because the others use what I call the standard math curriculum. And we use a different content sequence that we know that students can learn easily from and enjoy. And in the final analysis, you just have to try a program with your child, and if it's working, use it. If it's not working, go do something else.
Awesome, that is great. Well, I've definitely run into that same thing with parents. Now, I have a lot of parents who say, oh, I was terrible with algebra. There's just no way in the world I'm going to be able to teach my children how to do algebra. So how do you help those parents with that problem?
Well, again, that is a very common problem. Very few people are very good at teaching math for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes they don't know it, sometimes they just don't know how to teach it. So what you need to do is you need to hire a really, really good teacher for your child, and then you be a coach. And being a coach is much different than being a teacher, and they're both very important roles. You as a parent can be a great coach, and you need to hire a teacher. Now, obviously, we have a program where I'm the teacher, so if you use our program, I'll be the teacher for your student. You don't have to know any math at all, really. All you need to do is be sure your student is doing the right thing, taking the program, and cheer them on, and that sort of thing.
All right, well, I can be a cheerleader. That's awesome. It says, so how does you find what's different between the way you do it and the way all the other programs that we're dealing with out there in the world?
Well, the number one difference is content. You can download our syllabus of our different tiers, starting from the very beginning and working all the way through calculus. And you can study our syllabus, and then you compare that to the syllabi of any other program. And what you'll see is a huge difference. Quick example, the first time we teach your child algebra, we only teach them 10 lessons, because that's all you need for practical math, for a foundation. And if you look at other programs, they typically will take a very thick algebra book, several hundred pages, and they'll just teach them all kinds of things in algebra that are either premature, in many cases obsolete. A lot of what's taught today is old, obsolete techniques that are no longer useful.
Wow, we have dealt with that in a lot of things. Our technologies and stuff are changing, but so do you recommend a specific, is there a math book or something that they would?
Well, actually, as you know, we have a multiple tiered program. And in the first two tiers, we teach them the basic algebra and geometry and trigonometry they need for practical math. And for that, we use custom notes that we've created, because there is no book that I'm aware of that does this. If you ever hear of one, you let me know.
Okay.
Then when we go into the upper tiers, where we begin to prepare them for college and to do pre-calculus and go deeper into these subjects, we do use a textbook that is, in my view, the greatest high school math textbook ever written by what I consider to be the greatest teacher of the 20th century, Dr. George Simmons. And that book is called Pre-Calculus Mathematics in a Nutshell. It's only 119 pages long. It only costs about $15. And it's the only textbook we use throughout the entire program. Everything else is custom notes.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, you know, there was always been a lot of controversy in school that we weren't supposed to let our kids use calculators, you know, because of course, having homeschooled for 30 years, we didn't hardly have a decent calculator back in the day, but now, you have a different philosophy on that, and I'd like to know kind of what you think about that.
Well, we assume that when a student enters our program that they know basic arithmetic. They understand the number system, the decimal number system, and they know basic addition and subtraction and division, and probably the manual algorithms that are taught in elementary school. We assume they know that. But when you go out into the real world, no one is going to pay you to take a pencil and paper and multiply numbers together or do division or any of the other manual algorithms we call them. They're going to want you to use a tool. So we teach the student to use a basic scientific calculator. That's the first thing we teach them, because it's intimidating. If you take a calculator, a scientific calculator, and you don't know what to do with it, it's like, oh my goodness, it's intimidating, it's scary. So we teach them the things they need to know to do any of the practical arithmetic they'll ever do. And by the way, that is what gets a child who is afraid of math unafraid of math. All of a sudden they find out, hey, I can do this. It's kinesthetic. We, of course, in our training, not only do we teach them how to do things, but we have them do a lot of exercises and practice, because that's critically important in learning math.
Well, one thing you said that you have them do a lot of exercises and a lot of things like that. So what if you've got that student that's doing really well in math and they want to just, do they have to do all the exercises? I mean, how do they know whether they have done enough or not enough? Or?
That's a really good question. First of all, part of our teaching technique, we call it pedagogy, is what we call the SPIKE pedagogy, S-P-I-K-E. And you can go to our website and we'll have videos that explain all that. But the first thing is self-pacing, and you're absolutely right. Some students will go faster, some will go slower, and that's fine. And we don't reward a student because he might be faster or penalize him because he's slower. That doesn't matter. The important thing is they're learning. So when a student watches one of my videos where I explain something, then they're asked to do exercises, and they're given a long list of them, and they do as many as they feel until they feel comfortable understanding that topic. Then we give them a quiz.
Okay.
It's like a little test, and it's a 3-question quiz. They got to get them all 3 right, and if they do, then they're allowed to go on. If they can't do that, then they need to go back and watch the video some more and do some more exercises. And that way they're climbing a ladder and they're not missing any rungs. Now, we also encourage students, even though you've passed a quiz on a given topic, you want to come back periodically and just do some more of those exercises to practice and review. It's like a sport. You learn how to do something, and then if you don't practice it, you'll forget it. So you need to come back. And until you've actually come back and maybe done it several times, you won't really have it cemented into your head. And we explain that to them, and they enjoy that. It's a lot of fun to go back and do things that you can do. It's always fun to do things that you can do.
So there's a lot of flexibility in it. It allows it to really,
Tremendous.
It sounds like from that very struggling child to the one that might be just ready to go really far.
That's right. In fact, we tell a parent, if you have more than one child involved, don't compare them. Do not compare a child that's taking a little longer to do something to one that's going a little faster. And don't reward the one that's going faster compared to the one that's going slower. You want to give a child recognition and reward for their individual progress and not compare them to anyone else, because there's always going to be some child that's faster than you and someone that's slower than you. That's just the way life is.
Yeah, all right. That sounds awesome. Well, I really appreciate that we've got to talk about this today, and hopefully we'll do some more and talk about some
I
more
hope so.
things.
Thank you, Margie.
All right, bye-bye.